Welcome to Boring History for Sleep. Tonight, we invite you to set aside the clamor of the present and drift into the ancient world of Celtic Europe, a realm of rolling hills, sacred groves, and tribal fires, spanning roughly 800 years before the Common Era to the 1st century. Picture yourself in a land where the air is thick with the scent of damp earth and heather, where the lives of shepherds, warriors, and druids unfolded in a delicate balance with nature's rhythms. This is a journey through the toil, beauty, and mysteries of the ancient Celts, people whose stories, though distant, still whisper in the landscapes of our world. Find a quiet, comfortable place, let your shoulders soften, and allow your breath to slow. There's no need to cling to every word. Let the details of this ancient world wash over you, carrying you gently toward rest. We'll begin by placing you in the heart of a Celtic hillfort as a shepherd, guarding your flock under a vast, changeable sky. From there, we'll wander through the tales of chieftains and seers, the enigmas of stone circles, and the enduring legacy of a culture shaped by courage and craft. Over the next 4 hours, we'll explore these lives in unhurried detail, letting the rhythm of their world guide you into a state of calm. Let's begin. Imagine yourself standing on a windswept hill, somewhere in what we now call Gaul, but around the 5th century BCE. You are a shepherd of the ancient Celts, part of a tribal community nestled within a hillfort's earthen walls. The air is sharp with the chill of morning, carrying the scent of wet wool, wood smoke, and the faint musk of livestock. Your life is one of endless tasks, bound to the needs of your flock and the demands of your people. To be a shepherd is to know the quiet beauty of open pastures, but also the weight of danger and toiler life that would make you tremble with fatigue and vigilance. Your day begins before dawn, the sky still a deep indigo. You rise from a straw pallet in your roundhouse, its watland, daub walls cool to the touch, its thatched roof creaking softly in the wind. The hearth's embers cast a faint glow, warming the packed earth floor. You pull on a woolen tunic, its fibers coarse against your skin, dyed a muted green with a heavy cloak, pinned with a bronze brooch shaped like a spiral, shields you from the damp, though it rarely stays dry. Breakfast is simple, a wooden bowl of oat porridge, flecked with wild herbs, or, if you're fortunate, a drizzle of honey. You sip watered ale from a clay cup, its bitter temps waking your senses. With a wooden staff in hand and a sling tucked into your belt, you step into the pre-dawn mist to gather your flock, perhaps 30 sheep, their wool tangled with thorns. The hillfort's wooden gate groans as you pass, and the path beyond is slick with mud, forcing you to tread carefully. The landscape unfolds in shades of green and grey, rolling hills, patches of heather, and dark forests where spirits are said to dwell. The bleating of your sheep blends with the distant lowing of cattle, the clink of a blacksmith's hammer, and the soft chants of a druid preparing morning offerings. This is the rhythm of your world, a constant hum of life and labor. Your work is grueling. You guide the flock to grazing grounds, climbing rocky slopes that strain your legs. The sheep are stubborn, prone to wandering, and you must watch for predators, wolves lurking in the shadows, or foxes darting from the underbrush. The Celts prize their livestock, cattle for status, sheep for wool and sustenance. A lost sheep is a blow to your family's survival, so you remain alert, your sling ready to fend off threats. Hours pass under a sky that shifts from mist to sun to sudden rain. Your cloak grows heavy, your boots caked with mud. At midday, you rest beneath a lone ash tree, its branches swaying gently. You eat a small meal-dried mutton, a crust of barley bread, and a handful of hazelnuts while the sheep graze nearby, their bells tinkling in the breeze. Danger is a constant companion. Raiders from rival tribes could descend, their chariots rumbling across the hills, seeking to steal your flock or burn your village. You've heard tales of entire settlements reduced to ash, their people scattered or bound in ropes. Even within your tribe, disputes over grazing rights can spark feuds, settled with iron blades or tense councils. Nature, too, is unforgiving. A sudden storm might scatter your sheep, forcing you to chase them through blinding rain. A harsh winter could thin the flock, leaving them gaunt and you desperate. You've learned to read the land's signs a shift in the clouds, the flight of a ravenous warnings, though the god's will remains elusive. Yet there are moments of solace. As the sun dips, casting golden light across the hills, you pause to watch a deer bound through the grass. The air carries the sweet scent of clover, and a distant flute drifts from the hillfort, perhaps a bard practicing for the chieftain's feast. These glimpses of beauty anchor you, reminding you of the Druids' teachings that the land and its spirits are sacred, and your life, however small, is part of their weave. The weight of survival never lifts. Taxes, paid in wool or lambs, go to the chieftain, while the Druids demand offerings grain mead, or a sacrifice day for festivals like a poor harvest or sick flock could leave your family hungry, your children's eyes hollow with need. Illness is a quiet threat. A fever could sweep the village, claiming lives with little warning. The Celts are resilient, but their world is fragile, demanding constant care. As dusk falls, you'll drive the flock back to the hillfort, its palisades dark against the twilight. You count each sheep into a stone pen, relief washing over you when none are missing. In your roundhouse, the hearth's warmth greets you, and your family perhaps, a partner, children, or elder shares a meal of stewed mutton and root vegetables. The day's labor lingers in your aching muscles, but the familiar creak of the roof and the soft hum of voices offer comfort. You lie on your pallet, the wool blanket, rough but warm, and let the village sound's distant laughter. A dog's bark fade into the night. To be a Celtic shepherd is to live in tune with the land, yet at its mercy a life of small joys and endless struggles. As we leave these hills and flocks behind, let your mind drift with the rhythm of their days, guiding you gently into our next story. Now, let us turn to a figure whose name echoes through the annals of Celtic history, a chieftain of the Arvanni tribe in Gaul, whose defiance against Rome in 52 BCE became a symbol of courage and loss. Picture a man standing tall on a hill, his bronze helmet gleaming under a clouded sky, his cloak billowing in the wind. His life, though brief, was one of ambition, unity, and sacrifice, a story that unfolds in the shadow of a growing empire. As you settle deeper into your rest, let us walk through the days of Vercingetorix, a leader who sought to preserve his people's way of life against overwhelming odds. Born around 80 BCE in the rugged hills of what is now central France, Vercingetorix grew up in a world of tribal pride and Roman encroachment. His father, Celtellus, was a respected leader, but his ambition to unite the Arvernes sparked his downfall. Executed by his own people for seeking too much power, young Vercingetorix, perhaps no older than 10, would have stood in the crowd, the air thick with the scent of burning offerings, as his father's fate was sealed. This moment, heavy with loss, shaped the boy into a man who understood both the strength and fragility of tribal bonds. As a young warrior, Vercingetorix trained in the arts of war-wielding an iron sword, driving a chariot, and mastering the sling. His days were spent in the hillfort of Gergovia, its stone walls a testament to Arvanni resilience. The air carried the tang of forges melted metal, and the rhythmic chants of warriors practicing in the fields. He learned to read the land, to move silently through forests, and to rally men with words as sharp as blades. His charisma was evident even then, his voice carrying a quiet authority that drew others to him, like moths to a torch. By 53 BCE, Rome's legions, led by Julius Caesar, had begun to tighten their grip on Gaul. Taxes, conscriptions, and Roman forts eroded Celtic autonomy, stirring resentment among the tribes. Vercingetorix, now in his late 20s, saw the danger not just to his art, but to all Gauls. He began to speak of unity, a radical idea in a land of feuding clans. Imagine him in a smoky hall, the firelight flickering on his face, as he urged chieftains to set aside rivalries. His words were measured, yet they carried the weight of a man who believed the gods had chosen him. Some listened, others scoffed, but his vision took root. In 52 BCE, a spark ignited rebellion. The Carnets tribe slaughtered Roman settlers at Sanabam, and Vercingetorix seized the moment. He rallied the Arvanni, his warriors painting their faces with woad, their shields adorned with spirals. The rebellion spread, tribe after tribe joining his Cossinone's piracy. Adui, the air was alive with the thunder of hooves and the clash of bronze. As Vercingetorix, he adopted a new strategy. Scorched earth, villages were burned, fields razed, to starve Caesar's legions. The Gauls moved like shadows, striking Roman supply lines and vanishing into the hills. The campaign was grueling. Vercingetorix led his men through winter's bite, their cloaks frozen stiff, their bellies tight with hunger. He burned his own people's granaries, a painful choice to deny Rome's sustenance. At Gergovia, he outmaneuvered Caesar, his warriors hurling javelins from the Hillfort's walls, forcing a Roman retreat. The victory was sweet, the air thick with cheers and the scent of victory fires, but it was fleeting. Caesar's legions were relentless, their discipline unmatched. The turning point came at Alesia, a fortified town where picture the scene, a hilltop oppidum, its wooden palisades bristling with spears, surrounded by Caesar's double fortification trenches, towers, and stakes. The Gauls were trapped, their supplies dwindling. Vercingetorix sent messengers to rally a relief army, and for weeks the siege held. The air was heavy with dust, and the distant cries of battle as Gallic reinforcements clashed with Roman lines. But the relief failed. The Gauls' numbers no match for Roman engineering. Starvation gnawed at Alesia's defenders, their faces gaunt, their hope fading. In a final act of defiance, Vercingetorix rode out to meet Caesar, clad in his finest armor, his horse's hooves stirring the dust. He surrendered to spare his people further suffering. The moment was silent, save for the creak of leather and the rustle of Roman banners. He was taken in chains, displayed in Caesar's triumph in Rome, and executed years later, his name a whisper among the conquered. Gaul fell under Roman rule, its tribes fragmented, their way of life forever altered. Vercingetorix's story is one of bold ambition and inevitable loss. His defiance, though crushed, left a mark on the Celtic spirit, a tale told by bards around flickering hearths. As we leave his world of battles and sacrifice, let your mind linger on the weight of his choices, carrying you gently into the next chapter of our journey. Now, let us step further back in time, to the misty plains of what is now southern England. Around 2500 BCE, where a monument rises from the earth, Stonehenge, a circle of massive stones that has puzzled scholars and dreamers for centuries. Its builders, perhaps ancestors of the later Celts, left no written records, only the stones themselves, standing silent under the vast sky. Who were they, and why did they labor to create this enigmatic place? As you sink deeper into calm, let us wander through the mystery of Stonehenge, a puzzle woven from archaeology, ritual, and the whispers of the past. Picture the landscape, a wide, rolling plain, the grass, lush in spring, dotted with barrows and ancient paths. The air is cool, carrying the scent of chalky soil and wildflowers. Stonehenge is not yet complete, but its earliest former circular ditch and bank, known as a henge already marks the site as sacred. The people who gather here are not the Celts of Vercingetorix's time, but a Neolithic folk, their lives tied to farming, herding, and the cycles of the sun and moon. Their tools are flint and antler, their homes simple timber huts, their world alive with spirits. The construction of Stonehenge spans centuries, a labor of generations. Imagine a community gathered at dawn, their faces painted with ochre, their voices rising in rhythmic chants. They drag massive Salson stones, some weighing as much as 30 tons, from quarries miles away. The work is slow, the stones pulled on sledges over rollers, the ground churned to mud under their weight. Ropes of twisted hide creak, muscles strain, and the air is thick with sweat and dust. Smaller bluestones, hauled from distant Wales, are set upright with equal care, their surfaces polished to catch the light. Why such effort? Archaeologists suggest Stonehenge was a place of ceremony, perhaps tied to the solstice. On the summer solstice, the rising sun aligns with the heelstone, casting light into the circle's heart. Picture the scene. Hundreds gathered, their cloaks adorned with bone beads, as druids or shamans offer prayers to the sun, their voices mingling with the bleat of sacrificial goats. The air is warm, heavy with the scent of burning herbs and the hum of anticipation. Was Stonehenge a temple to celestial gods, a calendar for planting, or a site for healing, where the sick came to touch the stones? Other clues deepen the mystery. Nearby burial mounds hold cremated remains, some adorned with jet and amber. Were these ancestors honored here, their spirits believed to linger in the stones? Excavations reveal feasting pits filled with pig bones, suggesting great gatherings, perhaps festivals where tribes met to trade, marry, or resolve disputes. The air would have carried the crackle of fires, the laughter of children, and the drone of bone flutes, a fleeting moment of unity in a fragmented world. Yet questions persist. The Bluestones' journey from Wales, over 200 miles, defies easy explanation. Did they hold sacred power? perhaps linked to a mythic spring. Some stones bear carvings, daggers, axes faintly etched, their meaning lost. Were they symbols of authority, offerings to spirits, or markers of time? The builders' beliefs are elusive, their rituals known only through the traces they left. Even the site's decline, as later Celts and Romans passed it by, adds to its enigma, the stones standing silent as the world changed around them. Stonehenge remains a testament to human devotion, its stones a canvas for our wonder. As we leave this circle of mystery, let your thoughts drift with the ancient builders. There lives a quiet echo in the night, guiding you gently onward. Let us now ascend from the pastures to the heart of a Celtic hill fort where the chieftain rules, his life a stark contrast to the shepherd's toil. Picture yourself in a grand hall, its timber beams blackened by smoke, its walls hung with woven tapestries. The air is rich with the scent of roasted boar and mead, the flicker of torches casting shadows on the faces of warriors and kin. To be a chieftain in ancient Celtic society, around the 4th century BCE, is to wield power, yet live under the weight of duty and danger. As you settle deeper into rest, let us explore this world of feasting, loyalty, and precarious authority. Your day begins in a spacious roundhouse, its floor strewn with fresh rushes, its hearth blazing to ward off the morning chill. You rise from a bed of furs, pulling on a fine woolen tunic dyed crimson with madder, adorned with gold embroidery. A heavy torque, a twisted band of gold, rests around your neck, its weight a constant reminder of your status. Your wife or kin prepare a breakfast of warm bread, soft cheese, and smoked fish, served on a polished wooden platter. The meal is lavish compared to the shepherd's porridge, but you eat quickly, your mind already on the day's demands. As chieftain, your role is to lead your tribe, perhaps a few hundred souls, through war, trade, and ritual. You step into the hall, where warriors and advisors await. The air carries the temps of iron from their swords and the faint perfume of herbal salves. You settle disputes. A farmer claims his neighbor's stole cattle. A warrior demands vengeance for an insult. Your words are measured, your decisions final. Backed by the loyalty of your warband, elite fighters sworn to your service. Their shields, painted with spirals, lean against the walls, a silent promise of protection. Midday brings a council with neighboring chieftains, a delicate dance of alliance and rivalry. You ride out in a chariot, its wheels rattling over the uneven path, the wind whipping your cloak. The meeting takes place in a sacred grove, where an ancient oak looms, its branches heavy with mistletoe. The air is cool, scented with moss and resin, as you exchange gifts, bronze daggers, amber beads to seal peace. But trust is fragile. A wrong word could spark a feud, and you keep your warriors close, their hands resting on sword hilts. Feasting is central to your role, a display of wealth and generosity. At dusk, the hall fills with tribesfolk, the air alive with laughter and the strum of a bard's lyre. Servants carry platters of roasted boar, venison, and apples stewed with honey, while mead flows from clay jars. You sit at the head, you talk, gleaming, sharing tales of past victories. The bard sings of heroes, his voice weaving a spell over the crowd. Yet even here, danger lurks, rivals watch for weakness, and a poisoned cup is not unknown. Your power depends on the gods' favor, and you consult druids, their faces painted white, their robes stained with berry juice. They read omens in the flight of birds or the entrails of a sacrificed ox, their chants filling the air with solemnity. You offer gold to sacred springs, praying for victory or a bountiful harvest. Failure to appease the gods could turn your people against you. Their loyalty is fleeting as the wind. Danger is ever present. Rival chieftains covet your land, and Roman traders, with their wine and silver, whisper of conquest. A failed raid or poor harvest could weaken your authority, inviting challengers from within. Even your warband, loyal for now, might turn if you falter. The air carries the weight of these threats, mingling with the hall's warmth and the scent of mead. As night deepens, you retire to your chamber, the fire's glow fading. Your life is one of splendor, yet it is a fragile throne, built on loyalty and fear. As we leave this world of chieftains and feasts, let your mind linger on the flicker of their torches, guiding you gently forward. Now, let us step into the smoky heart of a Celtic village, where the metalworkers forge glows, a place of craft and creation. Picture a low, stone-walled hut, its roof thatched with straw, the air thick with the acrid scent of charcoal and molten bronze. The metalworker, a figure revered yet apart, shapes the tools, weapons, and ornaments that define Celtic life. Around the 5th century BCE, this craft is both art and necessity, a skill that binds the tribe to the earth's hidden treasures. As you drift deeper into calm, let us explore the world of Celtic metalworking, a rhythm of fire and patience. The metalworker's day begins at dawn, the forge already lit, its embers pulsing like a living heart. You, the smith, wear a leather apron, scarred from sparks, your hands calloused from years at the anvil. The workshop is cluttered, clay crucibles, stone molds, and heaps of charcoal line the walls. The air is warm, heavy with the temps of heated metal and the faint sweetness of beeswax used for casting. Your tools are simplon, iron hammer, tongs, and a bellows of animal hide, but your skill is profound, learned through years of apprenticeship. Your work begins with bronze, an alloy of copper and tin, prized for its strength and luster. You heat nuggets in a crucible, the fires roar, drowning out the village's hum. The metal glows red, then white, and you pour it into a stone mold carved with swirling la pattern spirals, knots, and animal forms. The air fills with a sharp, metallic scent as the bronze cools, hardening into a brooch or dagger hilt. Each piece is polished with sand and leather, its surface catching the firelight like a captured star. Iron, though newer, is your other domain. You smelt or in a clay furnace, the air choking with smoke as the blumous spongy mass of iron is extracted. Hours at the anvil follow, your hammer striking in a steady rhythm, shaping the bloom into a sword or the clang of metal echoes through the village, a sound as vital as the bard's song. The blade is quenched in water, steam hissing like a spirit released, its edge honed to cut through leather or bone. Your craft is not just practical, it is sacred. The Celts see metal as a gift from the earth. It's forging a dialogue with the gods. You offer a prayer to Guaibanu, the smith god, before each major work, sprinkling mead into the fire. The air carries the scent of charred wood and sacrifice, a reminder of the divine balance you maintain. A flawed sword could anger a warrior, a broken torque could shame a chieftain, so your focus is unwavering, your hands steady despite the heat. The village relies on you. Warriors seek your swords, their hilts adorned with enamel. Farmers need your sickles, their blades gleaming in the harvest sun. Chieftains commission torques, their twisted gold a symbol of power. You trade your work for grain, wool, or amber, your status secure, but your life solitary. The forge is your world, its heat, a noise, a constant companion, isolating you from the village's laughter and feasts. Yet there are moments of pride, when a young warrior receives your sword, his eyes wide with awe, or when a druid blesses your torque for a ritual. You feel the weight of your craft. The air shifts, carrying the faint hum of approval from the tribe. As night falls, you bank the forge, the embers glowing softly, and step into the cool evening. The stars above mirroring the sparks of your day's work. The metalworker's life is one of skill and solitude, a dance of fire and patience. As we leave the forge's glow, let your thoughts drift with the rhythm of the hammer, carrying you gently onward. Let us now climb to the heights of a great oppidum of the Adui tribe in Gaul. Around the 2nd century BCE, picture a fortified town crowning a hill, its stone ramparts and wooden palisades stretching across the horizon. The air is crisp, scented with pine and the faint smoke of countless huts. Bibract is a marvel of Celtic engineering, a hub of trade, craft, and power, where thousands live within its walls. As you sink deeper into rest, let us wander through this ancient stronghold, a testament to the Celts' ambition and skill. Bibract sprawls across Mount Bouvray, its slopes terraced to support homes, workshops, and granaries. The oppidum is vast, nearly a mile across, its defenses a network of ditches and walls. Imagine standing at the main gate, its oak timbers reinforced with iron, guarded by warriors with painted shields. The air carries the clatter of carts and the shouts of traders as the gate opens to a bustling street paved with gravel. The town is alive, its rhythm a blend of labor and community. The ramparts are the first wonder. Built with the Muris Gallicus technique, they combine stone, timber, and iron nails, creating walls both strong and flexible. Workers haul limestone from nearby quarries, their sledges creaking under the weight. The air is thick with dust and the tang of cut wood, as carpenters fit beams into the stonework. The walls rise 20 feet, topped with wooden walkways where sentries pace, their spears glinting in the sun. From here, you can see the rolling hills of Gaul, a patchwork of fields and forests, safe under beam. Inside, the town is a maze of roundhouses and rectangular workshops. You walk past a potter's stall, the air heavy with the scent of wet clay. Then a weaver's loom, its threads dyed vibrant red. The streets are narrow, bustling with farmers, artisans, and traders from distant tribes. A druid passes, his white robe fluttering, his staff carved with ogre marks. The air hums with voices bartering, gossip, and the occasional bark of a dog. At the town's center lies a sacred enclosure, its wooden pillars adorned with offerings where rituals honor the gods. Bibracte is a hub of commerce. Merchants from the Mediterranean bring wine and olive oil, their amphorae stacked in warehouses. Celtic traders offer iron tools, wool, and amber. The air, alive with the clink of bronze coins and the scent of spices. The oppidum's forges and mints produce wealth. Its granaries store grain for thousands. Yet life here is not easy. The air carries the weight of taxes and the tension of tribal politics as chieftains vie for dominance within the walls. The oppidum's decline comes later, after Caesar's conquest. Bibracte, once a Carpathia, is abandoned for Roman towns, its stones reclaimed by the forest. Excavations reveal its scale-paved streets, water channels, even a theatre proof of a sophisticated society. As you stand atop its imagined ramparts, the wind whispering through the pines, you feel the pulse of a lost world. Its people bound by ambition and faith. Bibracte's walls stand as a monument to Celtic ingenuity, a city of stone and spirit. As we leave its gates, let your mind linger on the hum of its streets, guiding you gently forward. Now, let us descend from Bibracte's heights to a nearby valley, where a Celtic fair unfolds under a bright summer sky. Around the 3rd century BCE, picture a wide meadow, dotted with tents and stalls, the air alive with the scent of roasting meat and the chatter of traders. This is a place of exchange, where tribes gather to barter goods, forge alliances, and celebrate. To trade at a Celtic fair is to navigate a world of opportunity and risk, a vibrant pulse of economic life. As you drift deeper into calm, let us explore this lively yet fleeting market. The fair begins at dawn, the meadow already bustling. You are a trader, your cart laden with woolen cloaks and bronze pins, drawn by a pair of shaggy ponies. Your tunic is dyed blue, a sign of modest wealth, and a leather pouch at your belt holds amber beads for bartering. The air is warm, scented with crushed grass and the temps of ale from a brewer's tent. Stalls line the field, their awnings woven from dyed wool, offering everything from iron sickles to Mediterranean wine. You set up your stall, spreading your cloaks on a wooden table, their patterns catching the eye of The air hums with voices Gallic, British, even traders from distant Iberia, their accents blending in a rhythmic cacophony. A farmer offers a sack of barley for a cloak, but you haggle, settling on a bronze dagger as well. The exchange is slow, each deal sealed with a nod and a shared cup of mead. The air carries the clink of metal, the rustle of grain, and the occasional bleat of livestock penned nearby. The fair is more than trade. It's a social hub. Chieftains in gold talks barter for horses, the retainers eyeing rival clans. Druids bless the proceedings, sprinkling water from a sacred spring, the air heavy with the scent of herbs. Bards weave through the crowd, their songs praising past heroes, their lyres adding a soft melody to the chaos. You pause to watch a juggler toss wooden balls, children laughing at his antics, the air bright with their joy. Risk is ever present, thieves lurk, their eyes sharp for an unguarded pouch. A dispute over a faulty axe erupts nearby, the air tense with shouts, until a druid mediates. Rival tribes watch each other warily, their warriors' hands resting on sword hilts. Even the weather is a threat. A sudden rain could turn the meadow to mud, ruining goods and tempers. You keep your wares covered, your dagger close, and your wits sharper. The fair's peak is a communal feast, the air thick with the scent of roasted boar and baked bread. Tribes share food, their differences softened by mead and song. You join the circle, the fire's warmth on your face, the stars above a glittering canopy. For a moment, the fair is a place of unity, its rhythm a heartbeat of Celtic life. As the fair ends, you pack your cart, richer in goods, but weary from days of haggling. The meadow empties, leaving only trampled grass and the echo of voices. The fair's fleeting wealth sustains the tribes, its memory a spark until the next gathering. As we leave this vibrant market, let your thoughts drift with the scent of its fires, carrying you gently onward. Let us now gather around an imagined hearth, where a Celtic bard strums a lyre, his voice weaving a tale from Ireland's Ulster cycle. Around the 1st century BCE, the story is of Sue Chulainn, the Hound of Ulster, a hero whose deeds blend mortal courage with divine mystery. Picture a firelit hall, the air heavy with the scent of wood smoke and mead, as the bard's words fill the night. This myth, passed through generations, captures the Celtic solid's valor, tragedy, and connection to the other world. As you sink deeper into rest, let us drift through the tale of Sue Chulainn. The story begins in the kingdom of Ulster, where a boy named Satana is born, his eyes bright with a spark of the divine. The air of his childhood is filled with the clang of spears and the laughter of warriors. As he trains at the court of King Con, at 7, he earns his name, Sue Chulainn, Hound of after slaying a fierce guard dog in self-defense, vowing to take its place. The tale unfolds with the bard's voice, steady and rhythmic, painting a world of green hills and sacred rivers. Sue Chulainn grows into a warrior of unearthly prowess, his body lithe, his spear bulg a gift from the gods. The air around him hums with power, his warp spasm, a battle frenzy transforming him into a figure both fearsome and tragic. The bard describes his feats, single-handedly defending Ulster against Queen Medeb's army in the Boar. The cattle raid of Cooley, picture him at a river ford, the water churning red, his shield splintered but his will unbroken, as he fells warrior after warrior. The myth is rich with Celtic values, loyalty, honor, and the bond between mortal and divine. Sue Chulainn trains with a warrior woman in a distant land, her island shrouded in mist, the air sharp with salt and iron. She teaches him feats no mortal could master, her voice a whisper in the wind. He loves Imar, a woman whose wit matches his strength, their courtship a dance of riddles in a flower-strewn meadow. Yet his life is bound by Gisa, sacred taboos, their violation a thread of doom woven into his fate. Tragedy shadows the hero. The bard's voice softens, the air heavy with sorrow, as he recounts Sue Chulainn Essend. Bound by honor, he faces Medb's army alone, his Giza broken, his strength waning. The air grows still, the battlefield a tableau of fallen spears and fading light, as he ties himself to a standing stone to die upright, a raven perching on his shoulder. His death, at barely 27, is a lament, the bard's lyre falling silent, the hall hushed. The myth of Sue Chulainn endures, told by bards to inspire and warn. It speaks of the Celtic heart fierce, flawed, and tied to the land's spirits. As we leave this tale of heroism and loss, let your mind linger on the bard's song, carrying you gently forward. Now, let us turn to the women of ancient Celtic society, whose lives wove the fabric of their tribes. From the 5th century BCE to the 1st century CE, picture a village nestled in a valley, its roundhouses humming with activity, the air scented with baking bread and drying herbs. Celtic women, whether farmers, warriors, or seers, held roles both vital and varied, their influence felt in hearths and battlefields. As you settle deeper into calm, let us explore their world, a tapestry of labor, power, and quiet strength. Imagine a woman rising at dawn, her roundhouse warmed by a glowing hearth. She is a farmer's wife, her tunic dyed ochre, her hair braided with leather thongs. The air carries the scent of dew and straw as she steps outside, a wooden bucket in hand. Her day begins with milking goats, their bleats mingling with the cluck of hens. She grinds barley with a quern stone, the rhythmic scrape filling the air, then kneads dough for flatbread, its earthy aroma rising as it bakes. Her hands are busy, her tasks endless, weaving wool, brewing ale, tending children. Yet Celtic women were not confined to the hearth. Unlike their Greek or Roman neighbors, they enjoyed freedoms that startled outsiders. Some trained as warriors, their shields painted with spirals, their spears as deadly as any man's. Picture a woman of the her face streaked with woad, riding into battle beside her kin. The air is thick with dust and the clash of iron, her voice rising in a war cry. Boudicca, queen of the Iceni, would later embody this spirit, her rebellion against Rome, a fire that shook an empire. Others were seers, revered as bridges to the divine. Druids, male and female, led rituals in sacred groves, the air heavy with mistletoe and incense. A female druid might read omens in a hare's flight, her white robe glowing in the moonlight, her words shaping tribal decisions. The air carries the weight of her authority, as chieftains bow to her counsel. Women like Cartamandua, queen of the Brigantes, ruled as diplomats, their halls filled with the scent of mead and the murmur of alliances. Daily life was not without hardship. Women bore the weight of childbirth, often in straw-lined huts, the air tense with pain and hope. Many did not survive, their lives fading like embers. They worked alongside men in fields, their backs bent under the harvest sun, their hands blistered from sickles. Taxes and raids threatened their families, the air heavy with the fear of loss. Yet their resilience shown stories tell of women hiding grain from raiders, their cunning saving villagers from starvation. Their legacy is in the artifacts, bone combs, bronze, mirrors, and woven cloth, each a testament to their skill. The air of their world was alive with their voices, from lullabies to battle cries. As we leave these women in their lives, let your thoughts drift with the rhythm of their days, carrying you gently onward. Let us now return to the fateful year of 52 BC, to the hilltop oppidum of Alesia in Gaul, where Vercingetorix made his final stand against Rome. Picture a fortified town, its wooden walls bristling with spears, surrounded by Caesar's legions. The air is thick with dust, the distant clash of metal, and the weight of a people's survival. The Battle of Alesia was a turning point, a moment when Celtic freedom clashed with Roman might. As you drift deeper into rest, let us walk through this siege, a story of courage and inevitable loss. Alesia sits atop a plateau, its slopes steep, its defenses strong. Vercingetorix, with perhaps 80,000 warriors, has fortified the town, its ramparts lined with archers and slingers. The air carries the scent of pine and sweat as Gauls prepare for siege. Caesar, with 60,000 legionaries, encircles the oppidum, building a double ring of fortifications, trenches, palisades, and towers stretching 11 miles. The inner ring traps the Gauls, the outer braces for their allies. The air hums with the creak of Roman catapults and the shouts of centurions. Inside Alesia, life grows desperate. The Gauls ration grain, their faces gaunt, their children silent. Vercingetorix sends messengers through Roman lines, their cloaks blending with the night, to summon a relief army. The air is heavy with hope, but also fierce starvation looms. The granaries nearly empty. Women and children, deemed non-combatants, are sent out to preserve food, but Caesar refuses them passage, leaving them to wander the no-man's land, their cries a haunting echo. For weeks, the siege holds. The Gauls hurl stones and javelins, their war horns blaring, but Roman fortifications hold firm. The air is choked with smoke from burning arrows, the ground littered with broken shields. Then, the relief army arrives, hundreds of thousands, their banners bright, their chariots thundering across the plains. The air shakes with their charge, as they assault Caesar's outer walls. Vercingetorix leads a breakout, his warriors surging against the inner ring, the clash of iron deafening. The battle's climax is fierce but brief. Roman discipline prevails, cavalry charge, legionaries lock shields, and traps of stakes and pits decimate the Gauls. The relief army falters, their retreat a chaos of dust and despair. Inside Alesia, hope fades, the air heavy with the weight of defeat. Vercingetorix, seeing no path forward, rides out to surrender, his armor gleaming, his horse's hooves stirring the earth. The silence is profound, broken only by the rustle of Roman banners. Alasia's fall marks the end of Gallic resistance. The Gauls are scattered, their tribes subdued, their way of life reshaped by Rome. The air of the battlefield settles, the echoes of war fading into the hills. As we leave this moment of struggle, let your mind linger on the weight of Alesia, carrying you gently forward. Now, let us step into the shaded groves and quiet huts of ancient Celtic healers. Around the 4th century BCE, where herbal lore and spiritual rituals wove a delicate art of healing. Picture a forest clearing, the air scented with wild mint and damp moss, where a healer gathers plants under a crescent moon. The Celt saw health as a balance with nature and the divine, their remedies a blend of earth and spirit. As you sink deeper into calm, let us explore this world of healing, a gentle craft born of necessity. The healer, often a woman or druid, begins her day at dawn, her basket woven from willow, her tunic stained with berry juice. She walks a forest path, the air cool, the ground soft with fallen leaves. She seeks herbs mistletoe from sacred oaks, vervain for fever, yarrow to staunch wounds. Each plant is harvested with a prayer, the air humming with her whispered thanks to the earth's spirits. The Celts believe illness stems from imbalanced anger of the gods, a curse, or a body's disharmony, and healing restores this balance. In her hut, the air is thick with the scent of drying herbs, hung in bundles from the rafters. She grinds roots with a mortar, the rhythmic scrape blending with the crackle of a small fire. A feverish child is brought, his mother's face etched with worry. The healer brews a tea of willow bark, its bitter aroma filling the air, and bathes the child's brow with cool water from a sacred spring. She chants softly, invoking Ipona, goddess of healing, the air alive with the weight of her words. For wounds, she uses yarrow and honey, their sticky warmth soothing gashes from raids. The air carries the sweet tang of the poultice as she binds the wound with linen. Broken bones are set with splints, the patient given mead to dull the pain. The Celts know little of surgery, but their herbal knowledge is vast, passed through generations. The air of the hut is a tapestry of scents: lavender, chamomile, and the sharp bite of nettle. Rituals are as vital as herbs. A sick warrior, believing himself cursed, is led to a sacred well, its waters shimmering under starlight. The healer offers a bronze ring to the water's spirit, the air cool and still. As she prays for cleansing, the warrior drinks, his faith as potent as the remedy. The Celts see no divide between body and soul, their healing a dance of both. Yet illness often prevails. Fevers claim the young, infections spread from wounds, and winter's cold takes the weak. The air grows heavy with grief as families burn offerings for the departed. The healer's role is to ease suffering, not always to cure, her presence a comfort in a fragile world. The legacy of Celtic healing lives in their plants and rituals, their knowledge a whisper in modern herbalism. As we leave this world of herbs and prayers, let your thoughts drift with the scent of the forest, carrying you gently onward. Let us now journey to Ireland, to the sacred hill of Tara, seat of the High Kings. Around the 3rd century BCE, picture a grassy mound, its slopes crowned with earthworks, the air scented with clover and the faint smoke of ritual fires. Tara was a place of power, its wooden halls now vanished, leaving only legends and buried traces. What secrets lie beneath its soil? As you drift deeper into rest, let us explore the mystery of Tara, a lost heart of Celtic Ireland. Tara is no ordinary hill. Its ridges bear the marks of ancient enclosures, the wrath of the kings, the mound of the hostage siege, a testament to its sanctity. The air is alive with the hum of history as tribes gather for feasts, coronations, and rituals. The central hall, long gone, was a vast timber structure, its beams carved with spirals, its roof thatched with golden straw. The air inside would have been thick with mead, smoke, and the voices of bards, as kings were crowned before the lyre, the stone of destiny, said to roar for the rightful ruler. Archaeology reveals Tara's scale. Excavations uncover bronze pins, glass beads, and charred bones, hints of feasts and offerings. The air carries the weight of these finds, each a fragment of a lost world. A ditch, lined with oak posts, suggests a ceremonial avenue where processions moved under the mound of the hostages. A passage tomb holds cremated remains, its stones aligned with the equinox sun. Was Tara a political capital, a spiritual center, or both? The mystery deepens with its decline. By the Roman era, Tara's prominence waned, its halls abandoned, perhaps burned in raids or left to rot. The air grew quiet, the hill reclaimed by grass. Legends speak of treasures gold talks, sacred cauldrons hidden beneath the soil, but none have been found. Geophysical scans reveal anomalies, possible structures, yet excavation is limited, preserving the site's sanctity. The air hums with questions. What rituals were held here? Did druids bury relics to protect them? The Celts saw Tara as a bridge to the other world, its hill alive with spirits. Picture a Samhain night, the air cold, as druids light fires to honor the dead, their chants blending with the wind. Tara's power was in its meaning, a place where mortal and divine met. Its loss is a poignant reminder of the Celts' fragility, their world fading as Rome and Christianity reshaped Ireland. Terror remains a symbol, its mystery a call to wonder. As we leave its sacred slopes, let your mind linger on the echo of its halls, carrying you gently forward. Now, let us join a Celtic village on the eve of Samhain, the festival marking the new year. Around the 4th century BCE, picture a clearing ringed by oaks, the air cold and sharp, lit by the glow of bonfires. Samhain, celebrated at the cusp of winter, is a time when the veil between worlds thins and the Celts honor ancestors and appease spirits. The air is heavy with reverence and mystery, a moment of communal devotion. As you sink deeper into calm, let us walk through this sacred ritual, a heartbeat of Celtic faith. The village prepares for days. You, a villager, help gather wood, the air scented with pine and frost. As children weave straw effigies, the Druids, their faces painted white, led the preparations, their robes fluttering in the wind. At dusk, the tribe gathers, their cloaks drawn tight, their breath visible in the chill. The bonfires are lit, their crackle filling the air, casting shadows that dance like spirits. The scent of burning oak and herbs mugwort sigrizus, a cleansing offering to the gods. The chief druid steps forward, his staff raised, his voice a steady chant invoking the ancestor. The air hums with power as he sprinkles mead into the flames, the sweet aroma mingling with smoke. A cow, adorned with garlands, is led to the altar, its sacrifice a gift to ensure the tribe's survival. The act is swift, the air heavy with solemnity, as the druid offers its life to the otherworld, ensuring no wasted hide and meat will sustain the village. The tribe forms a circle, their hands linked, their voices rising in a song of remembrance. The air carries their words, a plea for the dead to guide the living. Families place offerings, bread, apples, polished stones, at the fire's edge, the air warm with their hopes. The druids, divine omens, casting orgum sticks, their patterns red in the flickering light, a favorable sign a bountiful spring brings, murmurs of relief, the air lightening with hope. Samhain is also a time of fear. The spirits, both kind and malevolent, roam freely. Villagers wear masks of bark and feathers, the air alive with their rustle, to confuse harmful entities. Turnips, carved with eerie faces, glow with embers, warding off the dark. The air grows tense as tales of the Sidhe, fairy folk, are whispered. Their tricks a reminder of the otherworld's power. The ritual ends with a feast, the air rich with roasted meat, baked apples, and mead. The tribe shares stories, their laughter a defiance of winter's approach. The fires burn low, the air cool once more, as families return to their roundhouses, their hearts warmed by the gods' favor. Samhain binds the Celts to their past and future, a moment of unity and awe. As we leave this firelit clearing, let your thoughts drift with the scent of its smoke, carrying you gently onward. Let us now turn to the 1st century CE, as the Roman Empire's shadow falls across Celtic Europe, reshaping its tribes and traditions. Picture a Gallic village, its roundhouses dwarfed by a new Roman road, the air scented with dust and foreign wine. The Romanization of the cults, following Caesar's conquests, was a slow, transformative process, blending cultures but erasing much of the Celtic way. As you drift deeper into rest, let us trace this shift, a story of adaptation and loss. The conquest begins with Caesar's campaigns, culminating at Alesia in 52 BCE. The Gauls, defeated, face Roman rule. The air is heavy with the clatter of legionaries' sandals and the creak of ox carts bearing tribute. Roman governors impose taxes, demanding grain and wool, their villas rising where hill forts once stood. The air carries the tang of lime plaster as Roman towns Lugdunum Landinum replace Oppida, their forums bustling with toga-clad officials. Some Celts adapt, drawn to Rome's wealth. Chieftains become Roman citizens, their talks traded for purple-trimmed robes. The air of their villas hums with Latin, their tables laden with olives and garum. They send sons to Roman schools, where Cicero's rhetoric drowns out bardic tales. Celtic elites build temples to Jupiter, the air thick with incense, though they still whisper prayers to Law. The air of these hybrid lives is one of compromise, a delicate balance of old and new. Others resist. Boudicca's rebellion in 60 CE shakes Roman Britain, her Iceni warriors burning Landinium. the air choked with ash and rage. But Rome's legions crushed the revolt, the air settling over fields strewn with fallen spears. Druids, seen as rebels, are hunted, their sacred groves felled, the air heavy with the crack of axes. The old ways retreat to the hills, whispered in secret. Romanization brings roads, baths, and aqueducts, their stone arches gleaming in the sun. The air of Roman towns is alive with commerce, but Celtic languages fade, replaced by Latin inscriptions. Christianity, spread in by the 4th century, buries the old gods, churches rising where standing stones once stood. The air grows quiet, the chants of druids replaced by hymns. By the 5th century, the Celtic world is transformed, its tribes Romanized or marginalized. The air carries the weight of a lost era, though Celtic art and stories endure, hidden in manuscripts and folklore. As we leave this time of change, let your mind linger on the fading echoes of the Celts, carrying you gently forward. Now, let us pause to reflect on the legacy of the ancient Celts, whose lives, though distant, ripple into our own time. Picture a modern Irish village, its stone walls tracing ancient field boundaries, the air scented with peat smoke and sea salt. From the 5th century BCE to today, the Celts, art, language, and spirit, endure in the landscapes and cultures of Europe. As you sink deeper into calm, let us explore these echoes, a gentle bridge between past and present. The Celts art lives on in the spirals and knots adorning modern jewelry, their patterns etched in silver and stone. The air of a Dublin craft shop hums with their legacy. As artisans draw on La designs, their curves a whisper of ancient forges. Celtic crosses, blending Christian and pagan symbols, stand in churchyards, their granite weathered but proud. The air around them is still, carrying the weight of centuries, as visitors trace their carvings. Language, too, survives. In Ireland, Wales, and Brittany, Celtic, tongues Gaelic, Welsh, Breton are spoken, their cadence, a direct link to the bards. Picture a Welsh classroom, the air alive with children reciting poetry, their words echoing the rhythms of druidic chants. The air of these regions is rich with stories, from the Mabinogion to the preserved in manuscripts and oral festivals like Ireland's Samhain, now Halloween, keep rituals alive. The air bright with bonfires and carved pumpkins. The Celts' connection to the land endures. In Scotland, farmers plough fields bounded by Iron Age walls, the air scented with earth and history. Sacred site-stone circles, holy wells draw pilgrims, their air heavy with reverence, as modern druids offer mead to the spirits. The Celtic spirit, fierce yet poetic, lives in music fiddles and uilleann pipes filling pubs. The air alive with reels that echo ancient feasts. Even in politics, the Celts' tribal pride persists. Movements for Irish and Scottish independence draw on Celtic identity, their rallies filled with the air of ancient defiance. The European Union's Celtic regions Galicia, their air humming with festivals of dance and song. The Celts' influence stretches beyond Europe, their stories carried to America, Australia, and beyond. The air of diaspora, communities alive with their legacy. As you lie in the comfort of your own time, far from the struggles of hillforts and battles, let the Celts' world fade into a gentle hum. Their lives, though fraught, shaped a legacy of beauty and resilience, a thread woven into our own. Let this thought carry you towards sleep, the air soft with the promise of rest. And so, our journey through the world of the ancient Celts draws to a close. We've walked the hills with shepherds, stood with chieftains in torchlit halls, and wandered the mysteries of stone circles and sacred groves. The air of their world, thick with the scent of earth, smoke, and heather, has carried us through lives of toil, courage, and quiet wonder. From the 5th century BCE to the 1st century CE, the Celts shaped a culture that, though transformed by time, still echoes in the landscapes and stories of our own. As you lie in the stillness of your own space, far from the dangers of raids or the weight of tribal duties, let the rhythm of those ancient lives fade into a soft, comforting hum. The Celts' struggles against nature, rivals, and empires are distant now. Their hardships are contrast to the ease of your rest. Their legacy, in art, language, and spirit, remains a gentle reminder of humanity's enduring thread, woven through the ages. Let your eyes grow heavier, your breath slower, As the last whispers of Celtic Europe drift away, the hills are quiet, the fires banked, the stars above eternal. Sleep now, carried by the calm of history's embrace, and let the world of the Celts guide you into dreams. Welcome to boring history for sleep, where the past unfolds slowly, like waves lapping at a quiet shore, inviting you to relax and drift into the rhythm of ancient lives. Tonight, we journey to ancient Greece, a land of olive groves, marble temples, and city-states humming with ambition and struggle. Imagine yourself there, not as a hero or philosopher, but as an ordinary soul caught in the daily grind of a world both beautiful and unforgiving. This is a story of toil, triumphs, and forgotten wonders, told to soothe your mind and ease you toward rest. Let the weight of today slip away as we step into the sunlit hills and bustling ports of a time long gone. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let the steady cadence of history carry you forward. Our tale begins with the life of an olive presser, a humble figure whose labor fed the heart of Greek society. From there, we'll wander through the lives of kings, the whispers of oracles, and the echoes of a civilization that still shapes our world. Close your eyes, if you wish, and let the story unfold. Imagine yourself in the hills of Attica, around 500 BC, where the air is thick with the scent of dust and wild thyme. You are an olive presser, one of countless laborers whose work fuels the lifeblood of ancient Greece. Olive oil, your days begin before dawn, when the stars still cling to the sky, and the coolness of night lingers on the rocky slopes. You rise from a simple pallet of straw in your mud brick home, a low, cramped space shared with your family. The walls are rough, patched with clay, and the floor is packed earth, cool under your bare feet. A small clay lamp flickers, casting shadows as you pull on a coarse linen tunic, already stained with the greenish smear of last season's olives. Your breakfast is meager, a chunk of barley bread, chewed slowly, perhaps dipped in a bit of watered wine or a smear of oil if you're lucky. There's no time to linger. The olive groves await, a short walk through fields dotted with gnarled trees, their silver-green leaves catching the first light. These trees are ancient, older than your grandfather's grandfather, their twisted trunks a testament to the land's end. But for you, they mean work endless, back-breaking work. The harvest season is in full swing, and your task is to gather and press the olives into the oil that lights lamps, anoints athletes, and graces the tables of the wealthy. You join a small crew of laborers, men and women with weathered hands, moving from tree to tree. You spread woven mats beneath the branches, then climb a rickety wooden ladder to shake the boughs or beat them gently with sticks. Olives patter onto the mats like a soft rain. They are hard, green skins glinting in the sun. Your fingers grow sore from plucking stragglers, and sweat stings your eyes as the day warms. The air hums with the chatter of your companions, but it's a quiet rhythm, punctuated by the rustle of leaves and the occasional bray of a donkey hauling baskets. By midday, your back aches, and your tunic clings to your skin, damp with sweat. You pause briefly under a tree's shade, sharing a water skin and a handful of dried figs with the others. The sun is merciless, baking the earth until it cracks, and the cicada's drone fills the air like a lullaby. But rest is short. The olives must be pressed while fresh, so you haul heavy baskets to the press, a stone's throw from the grove. The press is a sturdy affair wide, shallow basin carved from limestone, paired with a massive wooden beam anchored by ropes and weights. You and your crew pile the olives into the basin, their sharp, bitter scent rising as you tread them underfoot, crushing the fruit into a pulpy mash. Now comes the true labor. You load the pulp into woven sacks, stacking them under the beam. With rhythmic heaves, you and the others pull ropes to lower the beam, squeezing the sacks until oil begins to trickle out, golden and sluggish, into clay jars below. The work is grueling. Your shoulders burn, and the ropes bite into your palms. The beam creaks, the sacks groan, and the oil flows slowly, drop by precious drop. Hours pass, and your body settles into a weary cadence, each motion blending into the next. The sun dips lower, painting the hills in hues of amber and rose, but you press on, knowing the landlord expects his Sharan more. Life as an olive presser is a constant struggle, not just against the land but against the weight of obligation. Most of your oil goes to the landowner, a wealthy citizen who owns the groves and the press. You're a tenant farmer, bound to his estate, and your family's survival depends on meeting his quotas. A bad harvest, a broken press, or a sudden drought could mean hunger or debt, and debt could chain you to the land for years. The city of Athens, with its gleaming temples and lively agora, feels a world away, though it's only a day's walk. You've heard of philosophers debating under shaded colonnades, but your world is here, among the trees, where the rhythm of labor shapes your days. Yet, there's a quiet beauty in this life, a simplicity that binds you to the land. The olives you press will light homes, anoint the sacred statues of Athena, and travel in amphorae to distant shores. Your work, though humble, feeds the pulse of Greece. As night falls, you trudge home, the stars now bright above the hills. Your family gathers around a small hearth, sharing a pot of lentil stew. The fire's glow softening the room's stark edges. You lie down, muscle sore but mind easing, lulled by the distant hoot of an owl and the steady breath of those beside you. Tomorrow, the groves will call again, and you'll rise to meet them, as you always have. As the olive groves of Attica fade into the quiet of night, let your mind drift southward to the rugged hills of Laconia, where a different rhythm pulses, one of discipline, honor, and sacrifice. Here, in the city-state of Sparta, a man named Leonidas carved his name into the annals of history, not with the tools of a farmer, but with the spear and shield of a warrior. His story, woven into the tapestry of ancient Greece, is one of defiance against overwhelming odds, a tale that echoes through time yet remains grounded in the dust and sweat of a single, fateful stand. Settle deeper into your rest, and imagine yourself in Sparta, where the air carries the tang of pine and the weight of duty. Leonidas, born around 540 BCE, was no ordinary man, though his early life was shaped by the same austere traditions that molded every Spartan male. Picture a boy, not yet 7, taken from his mother's hearth to the Agorge, Sparta's brutal training system. The Agorge was no gentle school. It was a crucible, designed to forge warriors from flesh and will. Young Leonidas slept on reeds. He gathered himself, his bed a thin mat in a barracks open to the chill of mountain nights. His meals were sparse black broth, a grim mix of pork, vinegar, and blood, eaten in communal messes where hunger was a constant companion. The trainers, grizzled veterans, taught him to endure pain, to wield a spear with precision, and to move as one with his phalanx, a wall of shields locked tight against any foe. The Spartan ideal was clear: strength, loyalty, and brevity of speech. Even as a prince of the Agiad dynasty, Leonidas was spared no hardship, his royal blood no shield against the lash of discipline. The air in Sparta was different from the olive-scented hills of Attica. It was sharp, tinged with the smoke of forges where bronze was hammered into armor, and the faint musk of leather from shields stacked in barracks. The Eurotas River wound through the valley, its waters glinting under a sun that seemed to harden the land itself. Leonidas grew tall and broad, his body sculpted by years of running across rocky trails, wrestling in dusty arenas, and drilling in the heat of summer. Yet his mind was honed as keenly as his spear. He learned the tales of his ancestors, of Sparta's victories over Messenia, and of the oracle at Delphi, whose cryptic words guided kings. By his 20s, he was a man of few words, his gaze steady, his presence a quiet command. The Spartans valued action over rhetoric, and Leonidas embodied this, his life a testament to the rhythm of duty. But Leonidas was not destined to rule young. His path to the throne was winding, marked by the quirks of Spartan succession. His half-brother, Cleomenes I, held the crown first, a fiery king whose schemes and madness shaped Sparta's fortunes. Imagine Leonidas in his 30s, a seasoned warrior, serving as a commander while Cleomenes grappled with rivals and omens. The Agora of Sparta, a simple square of packed earth, buzzed with whispers of Cleomenes' erratic rule. His defiance of Athens, his feuds with the second Spartan kingdom. When Cleomenes died in 490 BCE, under murky circumstances, Leonidas, now in his 50s, ascended as king. His coronation was no lavish affair. Picture a solemn ritual at the shrine of Lycurgus, Sparta's legendary lawgiver, where Leonidas swore oaths under the watchful eyes of elders, his bronze armor gleaming in torchlight. As King Leonidas faced a Greece on the brink, the Persian Empire, under Xerxes' eye, loomed like a gathering storm. By 480 BCE, word reached Sparta of a vast army crossing the Hellespont, its numbers so great that the dust of their march clouded the sky. The oracle at Delphi, nestled in the misty slopes of Mount Parnassus, delivered a grim prophecy. Sparta would lose a king, or its city would fall. Imagine Leonidas standing before the ephors, Sparta's council of elders, their faces carved with worry. The air was heavy with the scent of incense and the weight of decision. Leonidas, his hair streaked with grey, chose to lead a small force to Thermopylae, a narrow pass where mountains met the sea. It was a choke point, a place where numbers meant less than courage. He selected 300 Spartans, each a father with sons to carry their line, ensuring Sparta's future even if they fell. The march to Thermopylae was a journey through a Greece alive with contrasts. Picture the column of Spartans, their red cloaks vivid against the olive-dotted hills, moving in disciplined silence. They passed through Boeotia, where farmers paused in their fields, and joined allies some 7,000 Greeks, including Thebans and Thesp. The path itself was a stark beauty, sheer cliffs on one side, the Molian Gulf's waves lapping on the other, the air salty and sharp. Leonidas positioned his men at the hot gates, named for nearby sulfur springs that filled the air with a faint, acrid temps. The Spartans built a low wall of stones, a simple barrier, and waited, the rhythm of their lives drill. Each rest continued, even as Persian scouts appeared, their armor glinting in the distance. When Xerxes' army arrived, its scale was staggering. Imagine the ground trembling under the march of thousands Persian infantry, Median archers, and the elite immortals, their spears tipped with silver. The first day's battle was a clash of bronze and will. The Spartans, shields locked, thrust their spears in unison, their phalanx a living fortress. The Persians fell in waves, their numbers useless in the narrow pass. Leonidas fought at the front, his voice steady, urging his men to hold. The air grew thick with dust and the metallic scent of blood, but the Greeks stood firm. At night, by flickering campfires, they ate their black broth, combed their hair a Spartan ritual before battle, and slept under the stars, the sea's murmur a constant companion. The second day mirrored the first, with Persian assaults breaking against Greek resolve. But betrayal shifted the tide. A local, Ephialtes, revealed a mountain path to Xerxes, allowing the Persians to flank the pass. Leonidas learned of the encirclement at dawn, the news delivered by a breathless scout. The decision was swift. Most allies would retreat, but Leonidas and his 300 Spartans, joined by 700 Thespians and others, would stay. Imagine him addressing his men, his words brief, his tone calm, as the sun rose over the cliffs. They knew death awaited, yet they polished their shields, the bronze catching the light like a mirror. The final stand was a storm of chaos, yet the Spartans fought with precision. Picture the phalanx, tightening, spears splintering, shields dented but unyielding. The battlefield became a tableau of fallen warriors, the ground slick with sacrifice. Leonidas fell, struck by arrows, but his men fought to protect his body, their loyalty unbroken. By midday, the last Greeks perished, their stand a defiance that echoed beyond the pass. The Persians won Thermopylae, but the delay cost them dearly, galvanizing Greece for later victories at Salamis and Plataea. Leonidas' story is not just one of battle, but of a life shaped by Sparta's unyielding code. His sacrifice, though grim, was a spark that lit Greece's resolve. As you rest, imagine his final moments not with the clash of swords, but with the quiet certainty of duty fulfilled, the sea's rhythm a distant lullaby. His name lingers, carved not in stone but in the memory of a people who valued honor above all. The tale of Leonidas leads us now to a different enigma, one not of war but of ingenuity. In the waters off a small Greek island, a discovery waits, a device that defies time itself, whispering secrets of the Greek mind. From the dust and honor of Thermopylae, let your mind drift to the open sea, where the waters of the Aegean lap against the rocky island of It's here, in the early 20th century, that a discovery emerged from the depths, a relic of ancient Greece that whispers of a brilliance almost lost to time. Imagine yourself aboard a wooden boat, the air salty and sharp, as divers plunge into the blue, seeking treasures from a sunken ship. Among the marble statues and bronze coins, they find something peculiar, a corroded lump of bronze, its surface encrusted with the sea's embrace. This is the Antikythera mechanism, a device so enigmatic it challenges our understanding of the Greek world. Settle deeper, and let its mystery unfold, a quiet puzzle to soothe your thoughts. The year is around 1901, but the mechanism itself hails from the 2nd century BC, a time when Greek city-states buzzed with ideas, From Athens philosophers to Alexandria scholars, picture the wreck, resting 60 meters below the surface, its timbers long decayed, cradling treasures bound for Rome. The divers, their breath held in primitive helmets, haul the bronze lump to the surface, unaware of its significance. In Athens museums, scholars puzzled over it, noting its gear's delicate toothed wheels. Unlike anything from antiquity, the metal is pitted, green with age, yet the gears suggest a precision that feels strangely modern. Imagine the faint creak of those wheels, once turning smoothly, now frozen by centuries underwater. As decades pass, technology unveils the mechanism's secrets. X-rays reveal over 30 gears, inscribed with tiny Greek letters, some barely legible. The device, about the size of a small box, was a marvel of engineering, its bronze plates fitted with dials and pointers. Scholars now believe it was an astronomical calculator, tracking the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. Picture a Greek astronomer, perhaps in Rhodes, turning its crank under a lamp's flicker, the gears clicking softly as they predict an eclipse or the phases of the moon. The air in his workshop smells of olive oil and wax, the night outside alive with stars. The mechanism's dials, etched with zodiac signs, align with celestial rhythms, a mechanical mirror of the heavens. But who crafted this wonder, and why? The mechanism's complexity suggests a mind like Archimedes or Hipparchus, astronomers whose works shaped Hellenistic science. Imagine a workshop in Syracuse or Alexandria, where bronze is cast and gears are cut with tools of startling precision. The craftsman, his hands steady, labors by lamplight, the air heavy with the temps of metal and sweat. Was the mechanism a tool for scholars, a teaching aid for students, or a luxury for wealthy patrons? Some speculate it adorned a philosopher's study, its dials a conversation piece for debates on fate and the cosmos. Others wonder if it guided sailors, though its fragility suggests it stayed ashore, safe from the sea's wrath. The mystery deepens with the wreck itself. The ship, likely a Roman merchant vessel, carried treasures from Greece's eastern isles, perhaps looted during Rome's conquests. Why was the mechanism aboard? Was it a gift for an emperor, or the prized possession of a fleeing scholar? The sea offers no answers, its currents having scattered the ship's story across the ocean floor. The mechanism's inscriptions mention Rhodes, a hub of astronomy, but its origins remain elusive, a whisper of a lost tradition. Picture the device in its prime, its bronze gleaming, its gears turning with a soft, rhythmic hum, a testament to Greek ingenuity in an age of marble and myth. Yet, the Antikythera mechanism is more than a machine. It's a window into a world where science and wonder intertwine. The Greeks, who wove tales of gods steering the stars, also sought to measure the heavens with tools of bronze and intellect. As you rest, imagine the mechanism's quiet clicks, a sound that bridged earth and sky, now silenced but not forgotten. Its discovery reminds us that even in antiquity, the human mind reached for the stars, crafting tools to grasp the ingenuity of the mechanism leads us now to a different sphere of Greek life, one of privilege and power, where the elite shaped the destiny of city-states like Athens. From the Cease mysteries, let your mind wander to the heart of Athens, around 450 BCE, where the city pulses with ambition and ideas. Imagine yourself not as a laborer, but as an Athenian aristocrat, one of the elite whose wealth and influence steer the course of democracy. Your world is one of marble colonnades, shaded courtyards, and the constant hum of political intrigue. Yet even here, life is bound by duty and danger. Picture the Acropolis rising above the city, its temples gleaming white against a cobalt sky, as you navigate a life of privilege tempered by expectation. Let this scene unfold slowly, its details a gentle guide to rest. Your home is a grand affair, a two-story villa in the Kerameikos district, its walls plastered and painted with scenes of gods and heroes. The air inside is cool, scented with myrrh from a bronze brazier, and the floors are mosaic, their patterns swirling under your sandaled feet. You rise late, after a night of wine and debate, your slaves silent figures from Thrace or Scythia preparing your morning meal. The table holds fresh bread, figs, and a bowl of creamy cheese drizzled with honey, paired with watered wine in a silver cup. The meal is leisurely, taken in a courtyard where a fountain trickles, its sound mingling with the coo of doves perched in an olive tree. As an aristocrat, your wealth comes from land olive groves and vineyards worked by tenants. like the presser we met earlier. Your estates, scattered across Attica, yield oil and wine, traded in amphari, stamped with your seal. But wealth alone does not define you. Status demands action. By mid-morning you don a fine woolen himation, its folds draped carefully, and head to the agora, Athens' bustling heart. The air here is alive with smells roasting meat, fresh fish, and the sharp tang of vinegar from stalls. Merchants call out, their voices blending with the clatter of carts and the laughter of children. You pause to inspect a shipment of pottery, running your fingers over a kylex's smooth glaze. But your true purpose is politics. The agora is a stage for Athens' democracy, and as an aristocrat, you are both player and director. You join a knot of men near the Stoa Poikle, their beards grey or dyed, debating the latest proposal for the assembly. The topic today is a fleet for Sicily, a risky venture, some say, but you see opportunity in trade routes. Your voice carries weight, honed by years of rhetoric lessons, though you tread carefully. Athens' democracy is fickle, and even elites risk ostracism. The air grows warm, the sun climbing, and you retreat to a shaded bench, sipping from a waterskin as a scribe reads a decree aloud. Lunch is taken at a symposium, a private gathering in a friend's andron, the men's dining room. Reclining on cushioned couches, you share plates of grilled octopus, lentils spiced with cumin, and cakes of sesame and honey. A flute girl plays softly, her notes weaving through discussions of philosophy and war. You quote Solon, Athens, lawgiver, to argue for moderation, but the wine loosens tongues, and talk turns to Pericles' latest speech. The symposium is a dance of alliances, where words are as sharp as swords, and a misstep could cost your influence. The air is heavy with perfume and the faint smoke of lamps, the room's frescoes glowing in their light. Yet, privilege comes with peril. As an aristocrat, you fund public works, a trireme for the navy, a festival for Athenales, the demos. The common people turn against you. The memory of Cylon's failed coup, a century ago, lingers. Aristocrats who overreach risk exile or worse. At home, your wife manages the household, her loom humming as she weaves cloth for trade. But her world is separate, confined to the your sons train for war or rhetoric, their futures tied to your name, while your daughters await marriages to seal alliances. The city's pulse is your pulse, but it's a fragile rhythm, easily disrupted by war or scandal. As evening falls, you climb the Acropolis to offer a libation at Athena's altar, the air cool and scented with pine. The Parthenon looms, half-built as marble blocks gleaming under torchlight. You pour wine onto the stone, murmuring a prayer for Athens' prosperity. The city's lights twinkling below. Your life, though gilded, is a balancing act, where power rests on the will of the people and the favor of the gods. The aristocrat's world of marble and wine leads us now to a humbler craft, one that captures the Greek soul in clay and color. From the heights of Athenian power, let your mind drift to a quieter corner of the city, where the air smells of damp clay and charcoal. Imagine yourself in a potter's workshop around 500 BC, where the craft of vase painting transforms earth into art. This is not the world of kings or oracles, but of artisans whose hands shape the stories of gods and heroes, their work destined for homes, temples, and tombs. Picture the workshop's low roof, its walls blackened by kill smoke, as you explore a craft that is both meticulous and timeless. Let its steady rhythm guide you deeper into rest. The workshop sits in the Kerameikos, Athens' potter's quarter, where the clang of hammers and the whir of wheels fill the air. You're an apprentice, learning under a master painter, a man with ink-stained fingers and a squint from years at his trade. The day begins early, as you knead clay dug from Attic riverbeds, its texture cool and gritty. The clay is heavy, smelling of earth and minerals, and you work it until it's smooth, free of pebbles that could crack a vase in the kiln. The master watches, his voice low but firm, correcting your technique with a nod or a grunt. The potter's wheel, a wooden disc, balanced on a stone pivot, spins under your hands. You center the clay, your fingers guiding it into a cylinder, then a graceful curve, a calyx for wine, perhaps, or an amphora for oil. The wheel's hum is hypnotic, the clay yielding like a living thing. Once shaped, the vase dries in the sun, its surface hardening to a pale gray. But the true art lies in painting, a task reserved for skilled hands. You sit at a low table, the air warm with the scent of charcoal from a brazier, and prepare your tools. Brushes of boar hair, pots of black slip made from clay and ash, and a stylus for scratching details. The master hands you a lakithos, a slender vase for funeral oils, its surface smoothed and ready. You dip your brush into the slip, its texture like liquid silk, and begin to paint. The style is black figure, where figures are silhouetted in black against the clay's red, their details incised with a needle. You trace a scene of Athena, her owl perched beside her, the lines flowing with practiced ease. The air is still, broken only by the soft scratch of your stylus and the distant call of a vendor outside. Each stroke is deliberate, the goddess helmet taking shape, her spear angled just so. Mistakes are costly. A smudged line means hours of work lost. The painting complete, the vase returns to the kiln, a domed oven of brick and clay. Firing is a 3-stage dance, and you tend to fire, feeding it olive wood until the air shimmers with heat. The first stage bakes the vase red, the second, with vents closed, turns it black, and the third restores the clay's natural hue, leaving the slip glossy and dark. The kiln's roar is muffled, but its warmth seeps into the workshop, mingling with the earthy scent of clay. When the vase emerges, cooled and gleaming, it's a small triumph story frozen in time, ready for a symposium or a grave. This craft is more than work. It's a thread in Greece's cultural tapestry. Vases depict myths Heracles wrestling the Nemean lion, Orpheus charming beasts and daily life, from weddings to warriors. They're traded across the Mediterranean, their scenes delighting Etruscans or Persians. As an apprentice, you dream of signing your work, like Exekias or the Amasius painter, whose names echo in the air. But for now, you learn, your hands growing surer, your eyes sharper, the workshop's rhythm, a quiet comfort. The artisan's craft, humble yet enduring, leads us now to a monument that defines Athens' solar temple of marble and light. From the potter's wheel, let your mind ascend to the Acropolis, Athens' sacred hill, where the Parthenon stands as a testament to human ambition and divine reverence. Around 440 BCE, this temple to Athena, goddess of wisdom, rises in marble splendor, its columns catching the sun like a beacon. Imagine yourself standing at its base, the air warm with the scent of incense and pine, the city sprawling below. The Parthenon is no mere building. It's a symbol of Athens' power, a harmony of stone and spirit. Let its grandeur unfold slowly, a vision to soothe your mind as you rest. The Parthenon's story begins with destruction. In 480 BCE, Persian invaders sacked Athens, burning the old temple on the Acropolis. Picture the city in ruins, its wooden roofs collapsed, its altars defiled. Yet, from this loss, a new vision emerged. Pericles, Athens' statesman, rallied the demos to rebuild, commissioning architects, Ictinus and Callicrates, and sculptor Phidias, to create a temple unmatched in beauty. The air buzzed with purpose as workers, freemen and slaves hauled marble from Mount Pentelicus, its white surface veined with gold in the sunlight. The quarry's dust clung to their skin, the clink of chisels, a constant rhythm. Construction was a feat of precision. Imagine the Acropolis as a worksite, scaffolds of cedar creaking under the weight of stone blocks, each weighing tons. Workers, their tunics damp with sweat, maneuvered the marble with ropes and cranes, the air sharp with the tang of cut stone. The Parthenon's design was revolutionary. 46 Doric columns, each fluted and slightly curved to appear straight, a trick of optics called entasis. The platform, too, curved upward at the center, ensuring rainwater flowed off, a subtle genius invisible to the eye. The builders' tools, bronze chisels, wooden levels lay scattered, their handles worn smooth by calloused hands. Inside, the cellar housed Phidias' masterpiece, a 40-foot statue of Athena, her ivory skin and gold robes gleaming in lamplight. Picture the statue's creation in a nearby workshop, the air thick with the scent of sawdust and molten metal. Artisans carved her face, serene yet commanding, while others hammered gold sheets for her armor. The statue's cost was staggering, funded by Athens' treasury, a point of pride and contention in the cellar's walls, painted with myths, glowed in the dimness, the air heavy with the musk of offerings, oil, honey, and barley left by worshippers. The Parthenon's exterior was a canvas of sculpture. The metopes, 92 panels, depicted battle Greeks versus Amazons, gods versus giants, each carved with lifelike motion. The frieze, a 160-meter ribbon, showed the Panathenaic procession, citizens in flowing robes bearing gifts to Athena. Imagine sculptors perched on scaffolds, their chisels sparking against marble, the air alive with dust and the hum of prayer. The pediments, triangular gables, portrayed Athena's birth and her contest with Poseidon, their figures so vivid they seemed to breathe. The temple's colors red, blue, gold faded with time, but in its prime, it dazzled, a jewel against the Attic sky. For Athenians, the Parthenon was more than a temple. It was a statement. It proclaimed their victory over Persia, their devotion to Athena, and their mastery of art and math. Yet, it was not without critics. Some grumbled at its cost, others at its grandeur in a democracy. Still, it stood, a place of festivals and refuge, its marble warmed by centuries of sun. As you rest, picture its columns at dusk, the last light gilding their edges, the city's heartbeat echoing in their shadow. The Parthenon's majesty fades as we descend to the Agora, where the pulse of daily life beats in the clamor of trade. From the sacred heights of the Acropolis, let your mind drift to the Piraeus, Athens' vital port. Around 450 BCE here, where the Aegean meets the land, the air is alive with the salt of the sea and the clamor of commerce. Imagine yourself as a trader, navigating the docks where ships from across the Mediterranean unload their wares. The Piraeus is the lifeblood of Athens, a place of opportunity and risk, where every deal is a gamble against the whims of wind and wave. Let this vibrant scene unfold gently, its rhythm a soothing backdrop to your rest. The Piraeus is a sprawl of wharves and warehouses, its wooden piers weathered by salt and sun. You rise at dawn, the air cool and sharp, and make your way to the docks. Your tunic is simple but clean, a leather belt holding a pouch of silver drachmas, your capital for the day's trades. The port hums with activity. Triremes bob at anchor, their oars stowed, while merchant ships, round-bellied and heavy with cargo, creaked against their moon. The air smells of pitch, fish, and the faint sweetness of wine leaking from a cracked amphora. Sailors shout in a dozen tongues, Greek, Phoenician, Egyptian, while gulls wheel overhead, their cries piercing the din. Your stall, a wooden table under a canvas awning, displays your goods, amphorae of olive oil from your family's groves, their clay stamped with Athena's owl. You've also bartered for Corinthian pottery, its black figure scenes gleaming, and a few bales of Chion wine, its aroma rich, even through sealed jars. The market is a dance of negotiation. A Phoenician captain, his beard oiled, offers cedar from Lebanon, its scent sharp and resinous. You counter with oil and a small collects, your voice steady but warm, knowing a smile seals deals better than a scowl. The exchange is slow, punctuated by sips of watered wine from a shared cup, the liquid cool against the morning's heat. Trading is not without peril. Pirates haunt the Aegean, their swift galleys a shadow on every voyage. Last month, a ship you invested in vanished off, Lesbos, its cargo of grain lost. The sea itself is a fickle partner. Storms can shatter a fleet in hours, leaving amphorae to sink into the deep. You scan the horizon, where clouds gather, and mutter a prayer to Poseidon, tossing a coin into the waves as an offering. The docks are also a maze of human risks. A rival trader undercuts your prices, a dockhand pilfers a jar, and the tax collector, a doorman with a wax tablet, demands a cut for Athens' treasury. The air grows warm, the sun climbing, and sweat beads on your brow as you haggle, your voice blending into the port's cacophony. By noon, you pause to eat a loaf of bread, a handful of olives, and a sliver of salted fish, shared with a fellow trader under the awning's shade. The port's rhythm slows briefly, the air heavy with the scent of seaweed and tar. You watch a ship from Rhodes unload marble, its blocks thudding onto the pier, destined for a temple. The Piraeus is Athens' gateway, feeding its hunger for grain, timber, and luxuries. Without it, the city would starve, its democracy a hollow shell. Your role, though small, is vital, each deal a thread in the web of Greek trade. As evening nears, you tally your gains, a profit in silver, a bale of Egyptian linen, and a promise of Cypriot copper. The docks quiet, the air cooling as torches flare along the piers. You head home. The seas murmur a constant companion, your pouch heavier, but your mind lighter. Trading is a life of risk, but also of connection, linking Athens to a wider world. The port's clamor fades as we turn to a different kind of trade, one of words and myths, where a poet's voice carries the soul of Greece. From the Piraeus bustle, let your mind drift to a quieter place, perhaps a village square or a noble's hall around 700 BC, where a poet's voice rises above the flicker of a fire. Here, the Iliad, Homer's epic of war and wrath, weaves a spell over listeners, its verses a bridge to a heroic past. Imagine yourself seated on a wooden bench, the air warm with the scent of burning olive wood, as the bard recounts the tale of Achilles and Troy. This is not just a story, but a mirror of Greek values, a song that lulls the heart as much as it stirs it. Let its cadence guide you deeper into rest. The Iliad begins in a world of gods and mortals, set during the Trojan War, a conflict sparked by Paris' theft of Helen, queen of Sparta. Picture the bard, his fingers plucking a lyre, his voice steady and rich, as he sings of Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior, whose anger drives the tale. The air is still, the listeners farmers, traders, young boys leaning forward, their faces lit by firelight. The poem's rhythm is deliberate, its hexameter, a pulse that echoes the seas rise and fall. Each line, memorized through generations, carries the weight of tradition, the words as familiar as a prayer. The story unfolds on the plains of Troy, a city of high walls and gleaming towers, its gates flanked by fig trees, heavy with fruit. Achilles, son of a goddess, broods in his tent, his bronze armor stacked beside him, the air thick with the scent of leather and salt. He's quarreled with Agamemnon, the Greek commander, over a captive woman, Briseis, and his pride keeps him from battle. The bard describes the camp, its tents pitched along the shore, the waves lapping at ships drawn up on the sand. The Greeks, weary after 9 years of siege, roast goats over fires, their laughter mingling with the cries of gulls. The scene is vivid, the air alive with the temps of smoke and the distant clang of bronze. As the bard sings, the tale shifts to the battlefield, where heroes clash under a sky ruled by Zeus. Hector, Troy's prince, leads his men, his chariots, wheels churning dust that clouds the air. The Greeks, led by Ajax and Diomedes, form a phalanx, their shields a wall of bronze and hide. The fighting is fierce, a storm of spears and arrows, but the bard's tone remains calm, his words painting a tableau of courage rather than chaos. Lives are lost, their names honored in verse, but the focus is on the human cost: grief, honor, the fleeting nature of glory. The air grows heavy, the listener's eyes distant, as the poet describes Patroclus, Achilles' friend, falling to Hector's spear, his loss a wound that rekindles Achilles' wrath. The Iliad is more than a war story, it's a meditation on mortality. Achilles, invincible yet doomed, chooses a short life of glory over a long one of obscurity. The bard's voice softens as he recounts Achilles' meeting with Priam, Troy's king, who begs for Hector's body. Picture the tent, lit by a single lamp, the air thick with sorrow and respect. The two men, enemies bound by loss, share a meal of bread and wine, their silence a universal language. The scene, tender and human, resonates with the listeners, their own lives shaped by similar bonds and burdens. For the Greeks, the Iliad was a cultural cornerstone, recited at festivals and memorized by schoolboys. Its verses, passed down orally, shaped their sense of heroism and fate. As you rest, imagine the bard's final notes, the lyre falling silent, the fire's embers glowing. The story lingers, a reminder that even in war, humanity endures, its echoes carried on the night's breeze. The poet's song fades, leading us to the quieter lives of those who wove the fabric of Greek society, often unseen but ever present. From the epic's grandeur, let your mind settle into a humbler sphere, the world of ancient Greek women, around 500 BCE, whose lives shaped the heart of every city. Imagine yourself in an Athenian home, its courtyard open to the sky, where women move with purpose, their work a steady rhythm beneath the noise of public life. This is not a world of warriors or poets, but of mothers, weavers, and priestesses, whose influence, though often veiled, was vital. Picture the air warm with the scent of baking bread and rosemary, and let their stories unfold gently, a soothing thread in your journey to rest. In Athens, women's lives are bound by the oikos, the household, a domain of clay walls and woven curtains. Picture a young woman, perhaps 15, newly married to a man twice her age, stepping into her husband's home. Her dowry oilcloth, a few silver coins, sits in a cedar chest, its lid carved with vines. Her days begin at dawn, the air cool as she lights the hearth, the kindling crackling under her flint. She kneads dough, her hands dusted with flour, and sets it to bake, the oven's warmth filling the room. The household hums, slaves grind barley, children toddle underfoot, and the loom, a wooden frame strung with wool, clacks steadily as she weaves cloth for tunics or trade. The air in the gynecon, the women's quarters, is soft with the scent of lavender and lanolin, the wool's oils clinging to her fingers. Weaving is no mere chore. It's a craft, each thread a choice, each pattern a story. She might weave a scene of Athena's owl, her shuttle darting like a bird, the cloth growing under her touch. Her work will clothe her family or be sold in the agora, its quality a mark of her skill. The loom's rhythm is meditative, a counterpoint to the chatter of his sisters or the laughter of a child playing with a clay doll. These moments, though simple, are the heartbeat of the oikos, a world she rules with quiet authority. Yet her life is constrained. Athenian women rarely leave the home, their faces veiled if they venture to a well or shrine. The agora, with its clamor and deals, is a man's domain. Though her husband brings home tales of debates and wars, she listens, stirring a pot of lentils spiced with thyme, her thoughts, her own. Her role is to manage the household, oversee slaves, budget oil and grain, prepare for festivals. At the Thesmophoria, a women-only rite for Demeter, she joins others in a torchlit procession, the air heavy with incense and the chant of prayers. These moments of freedom, though rare, bind her to her community, their voice is a chorus of shared strength. In Sparta, women's lives differ, shaped by a city that prizes warriors above all. Picture a Spartan woman, her hair unbound, training in a gymnasium, her tunic short as she runs or wrestles. The air is crisp, scented with pine from the Taygetus mountains, and her laughter rings as she outpaces her peers. Spartan women are educated, taught to read and sing, their bodies honed to bear strong sons. They own land, manage estates, while men are at war, and speak boldly, their words sharp as bronze. Yet their freedom is not equality. Their role, too, serves the state, their lives a balance of power and duty. Grim realities touch women's lives, though we tread lightly here. Childbirth is a peril, the air in the birthing room thick with the scent of herbs and fear, though midwives' chants offer comfort. Many do not survive, their names whispered in mourning. Widows, if wealthy, wield influence, but the poor face hardship, spin in wool for meager coin. Still, women's resilience shines, priestesses lead rites, mothers teach myths, and their woven cloth sails on ships to distant lands. As you rest, imagine the loom's steady clack, the hearth's glow, the quiet strength of women whose work held Greece together. Their lives, though often unseen, were the foundation of every city, their legacy woven into the fabric of time. The women's quiet strength leads us now to a moment of clash and courage, where Athens faced its greatest test. From the hearth's warmth, let your mind drift to the plains of Marathon, for 90 BCE, where Athens stood against the might of Persia. Imagine yourself among the hoplites, the citizen soldiers of Athens, your shield heavy on your arm, the air sharp with the scent of grass and fear. The Battle of Marathon was a turning point, a clash that shaped Greece's destiny, yet its story is one of human resolve, not just of steel. Picture the dawn breaking over the bay, the sea glinting like polished bronze, and let this tale unfold gently, its rhythm a steady guide to rest. The Persian Empire, under Darius I, sought to punish Athens for aiding Ionian rebels. Their fleet, a forest of masts, anchored off Marathon, 26 miles from Athens. Picture the Persian camp, its tents stretching across the plain, the air alive with the neigh of horses and the chatter of 1,000 tongues Medes, Persians, conscripts from distant lands. The Greeks, led by Miltiades, numbered only 10,000, joined by a small Plataean force. You stand among them, a farmer-turned-soldier, your bronze cuirass tight against your chest, your spears, ash shafts smooth in your grip. The hoplites form a phalanx, shields overlapping, the air warm with the musk of leather and sweat. The plain of Marathon is flat, fringed by marshes and hills, the air heavy with the scent of wild fennel and salt. For days, the armies face each other, neither moving, the tension a weight on every heart. The Greeks wait, knowing their city lies vulnerable. At night, by flickering campfires, you share bread and olives, the stars bright above, and listen to veterans recount tales of past wars. The generals debate attack or hold, until Miltiades, his voice calm, urges a bold strike. The decision is made at dawn, the air cool as you tighten your greaves and mutter a prayer to Ares. The battle begins with a charge, a rarity for hoplites, who usually advance slowly. Picture the phalanx running a mile across the plain, their bronze armor glinting, the ground trembling under their sandals. The air fills with dust, the shouts of men, and the twang of Persian bows. Arrows fall like rain, but your shield, heavy with oak and bronze, holds firm. The Greek center weakens, planned by Miltiades drawing Persians in, while the wings, strong and swift, encircle them. You thrust your spear, the phalanx a living wall, the air thick with the chaos of clashing metal and muffled cries. The Persians, caught in the trap, falter, their wicker shields splinter, their ranks break, and they flee to their ships, pursued to the shore. The marshes swallow some, the sea others, as the Greeks strike until the tide turns red. By noon, the plain is still, a field of fallen warriors, their armor glinting in the sun. The Greeks lose 192 men, a number etched in memory, while thousands of Persians lie uncounted, their defeat a blow to direst pride. You stand, breathless, the air heavy with dust and the faint metallic tang of sacrifice, as Miltiades orders a march to Athens, fearing a Persian landing. The victory at Marathon is more than a battle, it's a spark. It proves Athens can defy an empire, fueling the spirit that will face Xerxes a decade later. A runner, perhaps Philippides, races to Athens, his cry of "We have won" echoing before he collapses, a legend born. As you rest, imagine the plain at dusk. The seas murmur a lullaby, the hoplite shield stacked in quiet triumph. The battlefield's echo fades, leading us to a different struggle, one of body and spirit, where Greeks sought to heal and understand. From Marathon's clash, let your mind drift to a quieter place, a sanctuary of healing on the island of Kos, around 400 BCE here. In the shade of plane trees, the physician Hippocrates and his followers practiced the art of medicine, blending reason with ritual. Imagine yourself in an Asclepieion, a healing temple, the air warm with the scent of lavender and myrrh, where the sick seek solace. This is a world of balance and observation, where health is a harmony of body and cosmos. Let its gentle wisdom unfold, a soothing balm for your rest. The Asclepieion is a haven, its marble steps worn smooth by pilgrims' feet. Picture the temple's courtyard, where patients rest on pallets, the air alive with the hum of bees and the trickle of a sacred spring. You're a student of Hippocrates, a man whose name will echo through time, his teachings rooted in observation, not myth. The master, his beard grey, walks among the sick, his voice calm as he questions their symptoms. The air smells of crushed herbs, mint, chamomile, fennel mixed, with the faint temps of vinegar used to clean wounds. Your role is to learn, to watch, to grind remedies in a mortar, its stone cool under your hands. Hippocratic medicine is a revolution, a shift from blaming gods to seeking causes. The body Hippocrates teaches is ruled by 4 humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile, whose balance is health, whose discord is disease. Picture a patient, a farmer with a fever, lying in the shade. You palpate his brow, note his flushed skin, and consult the master. He prescribes a diet: barley gruel, no wine under poultice, of willow bark, its bitterness sharp in the air. The treatment is gentle, the air calm with the chant of priests, invoking Asclepius, god of healing, whose snakes slither through dreams, offering omens. The air in the Asclepieion is heavy with ritual, too. Patients offer honey cakes at Asclepius' altar, their prayers mingling with the scent of burning myrrh. Some sleep in the abaton, a sacred dormitory, hoping for a divine vision to guide their cure. You record their dreams on wax tablets. The stylist scratches soft counterpoint to their murmurs. Hippocrates respects these rites, but insists on reason. A fever is not a curse, but a sign of imbalance. He teaches you to observe the seasons, the winds, the patient's habits. A north wind, dry and cold, might worsen a cough. A diet too rich in meat could inflame the bile. The air shifts, a breeze carrying the scent of pine. As you listen, your mind sharpening. Grim realities exist, though we tread lightly. Surgery, when needed, is a last resort, trepanning a skull to relieve pressure, or setting a broken bone with splints. The patient's cries are muffled by wine and poppy, the air thick with the scent of blood, but the focus is on recovery, not pain. Many ailments, fevers, dysentery claim lives. Their loss a quiet sorrow in the temple's halls. Yet Hippocrates' oath, sworn by his students, binds you to do no harm, to treat all equally. Its words a solemn rhythm in your heart. The legacy of Hippocrates is a new way of seeing, a science born in observation. As you rest, imagine the Asclepian at dusk. The springs trickle a lullaby. The patient's breaths easing as sleep claims them. Healing, like life, is a balance, a quiet dance of body and soul. The healer's art leads us now to a place of mystery, where the gods speak through the whispers of nature. From the Asclepian's calm, let your mind wander to the remote hills of Epirus, where the oracle of Dodona, ancient even in Greek times, speaks through the rustle of sacred oaks. Around 500 BCE, this sanctuary, older than Delphi, draws pilgrims seeking the will of Zeus. Imagine yourself in the grove, the air cool with the scent of moss and resin, the trees' branches swaying as if alive with divine breath. The oracle's mystery, half lost at time, is a puzzle of faith and nature. Its whispers a soothing enigma for your rest. Dodona lies in a valley, its sanctuary simple as circle of oaks, their roots deep in rocky soil, surrounded by a low stone wall. Picture the grove at dawn, mist curling around the trunks, the air alive with the chirp of sparrows and the distant bleat of goats. Pilgrims, their cloaks damp with dew, approach with offerings, bronze tripods, clay figurines, their clink echoing as they're hung on branches. You're a visitor, perhaps a farmer seeking guidance on a drought, your hands clutching a lead tablet inscribed with your question. The air feels charged, the oak's leaves shimmering in the first light, as if Zeus himself listens. The oracle's priests, the Soloi, are unlike Delphi's polished Pythi. They are barefoot, sleeping on the ground, their beards tangled, their tunics plain. Legend says they hear Zeus in the oak's rustle, the wind's sigh, or the coo of doves nested in the branches. Picture them circling the grove, their voices low, chanting as they interpret the leaves' movement. The air smells of earth and sacrifice, a ram's blood offered at a stone altar, its smoke curling skyward. You hand your tablet to a priest, its surface scratched with your plea, "Will my crops thrive?" He ties it to a branch, the metal glinting, and bids you wait. The process is slow, the air still but for the tree's soft creak. Some say the priests read patterns in the leaves' fall, others that they listen to the wind's pitch, its notes a divine code. Skeptics whisper of trickery, priests shaking branches or inventing answers, but the pilgrim's faith is unshaken. The air grows warm, the sun climbing, and the priest returns. His words cryptic: trust the rain, honor the earth. You ponder this, the oak's shade cool on your skin, the grove's rhythm a quiet comfort. The answer is vague, yet it guides you, a seed of hope for the season ahead. Dodona's origins are murky, its rite older than Greece itself, perhaps tied to Pelasgian tribes or Anatolian cults. The air carries echoes of Homer, who sang of Dodona in the Iliad, and Herodotus, who wrote of Egyptian influences. The sanctuary's simplicity lacking Delphi's. Was it a place of pure faith, or a clever blend of nature and human insight? Excavations reveal tripods and tablets, but the oak's voices are silent now, their secrets carried away by centuries of wind. As you rest, imagine the grove at dusk, the leaves rustle a lullaby, the pilgrim's prayers fading into the night. Dodona's oracle, though lost, reminds us of a time when the divine spoke through the world's quiet corners. Its mystery, a gentle echo in your dreams. The oracle's whispers fade, leading us to a celebration where gods and mortals meet in joy and reverence. From Dodona's sacred grove, let your mind drift to the streets of Athens, around 450 BCE, where the great Dionysia festival honors Dionysus, god of wine, theater, and revelry. Imagine yourself in the city, the air warm with the scent of grapevines and roasting meat, as crowds gather to celebrate. This is a time of music, sacrifice, and shared joy, a moment when the divine feels near. Yet the rhythm remains human, grounded in community. Picture the torchlit streets, alive with color and sound, and let this festival unfold gently, a soothing celebration for your rest. The Dionysia begins with a procession, the air buzzing with anticipation as dawn breaks over the Acropolis. You join the throng, your tunic dyed saffron for the occasion, a wreath of ivy crowning your head, its leaves cool against your brow. The streets are packed, farmers, merchants, women, even slaves united in devotion. A massive statue of Dionysus, carved in wood and draped in purple, leads the way, carried by priests on a cart. The air smells of crushed grapes and myrrh, the statue's cart creaking as it rolls toward the theatre of Dionysus, nestled at the Acropolis base. The procession is a tapestry of sound and color. Young men, their faces flushed with wine, sing dithyrambs, hymns to Dionysus, their voices rising over the beat of drums. Girls scatter rose petals, their laughter mingling with the clink of bronze coins tossed as offerings. Oxen garlanded with flowers lowers their lead to the altar, their sacrifice a solemn act to honor the god. The air grows heavy with the scent of blood and smoke, but the moment is brief, the focus on the feast to come. You help carve the meat, its juices sizzling on communal fires, and share portions with strangers, the act binding the city as one. The festival's heart is the theater, a stone amphitheater where tragedies and comedies unfold. Picture yourself seated on a limestone bench, the air warm as the sun climbs, watching Aeschylus' latest play. The actors, masked and robed, recite tales of gods and heroes, their voices carrying across the tiered seats. The chorus, chanting in unison, moves like a wave, their song a rhythm that lulls the crowd. The air smells of dust and wine, spilled from cups passed among friends. The plays, though profound, are not jarring. Their themes fey hubris, redemption sink into the mind like a gentle tide, stirring thought without breaking the festival's calm. By evening, the streets glow with torches, the air alive with music and dance. You join a komos, a heavyweight parody twirling with others to the wail of flutes. The wine, tart and strong, warms your limbs, but the mood is joyful, not wild. The city's unity, a quiet strength. Women, usually cloistered, dance too, their veils loosened, their laughter a rare gift. The air grows cool, the stars bright as the festival winds down, the last hymns fading into the night. The Dionysia is more than revelry, it's a renewal, a moment when Athens breathes as one, honoring a god who blurs the line between mortal and divine. As you rest, imagine the theater's final applause, the torches glow, the city settling into a contented hush, its joy a lullaby for your dreams. The festival's joy fades, leading us to a darker chapter, where Greece faced its own divisions in a war that shook its core. From the Dionysia's revels, let your mind drift to a graver time, the late 5th century BCE, when the Peloponnesian War tore Greece apart. Imagine yourself in Athens, around 404 BC, the air heavy with the scent of smoke and fear, as the city faces defeat. This war, pitting Athens against Sparta, was a tragedy of ambition and division, its scars reshaping the Greek world. Picture the walls of Athens, once proud, now battered, and let this somber tale unfold gently, its weight a quiet reflection for your rest. The war began in 431 BCE, a clash of ideals. Athens' naval empire versus Sparta's land-based alliance. Picture the early years, when Athens, led by thrived behind its long walls, a stone corridor linking the city to the Piraeus. The air then was tense but hopeful, the agora buzzing with plans for victory. You're a citizen, perhaps a rower in the fleet, your hands calloused from oars, the sea's salt stinging your skin. The triremes, sleek and swift, patrol the Aegean, their prows cutting waves like knives. The air smells of pitch and sweat, the rowers chant a steady rhythm under the sun. But war's toll mounts. Sparta's armies ravage Atticus' farms, burning olive groves, until the air chokes with ash. You see the smoke from the city, the groves you once worked, reduced to stumps. Plague strikes in 430 BCE, a shadow that creeps through Athens' crowded streets. The air grows foul, the sick coughing in alleys, their numbers too great for pyres. Thousands perish, including Pericles, his vision of victory fading. The war grinds on, a rhythm of raids and stalemates, the air heavy with the weight of loss. You row to Sicily in 415 BCE, part of a grand expedition, only to hear of its failure, ship sunk, men lost, the sea claiming Athens' hopes. By 404 BCE, Sparta, aided by Persia, tightens its grip. Picture the Piraeus blockaded, its docks silent, the air still but for the creak of enemy ships. Hunger gnaws at Athens, the Agora stalls empty, the air thick with the scent of unwashed bodies and despair. You stand on the walls, your spear heavy, as Lysander, Sparta's admiral, demands surrender. The long walls are torn down, their stones crumbling to dust, the air alive with the sound of hammers and wails. Athens capitulates, its democracy dismantled, a puppet regime installed. The war's end is a quiet ruin, the city's spirit broken, its pride a memory. The Peloponnesian War's legacy is a fractured Greece, its city-states weakened, ripe for Macedonian conquest. Yet, it also birthed history itself, the city's chronicle, a sober record of human folly. As you rest, imagine Athens at dusk, its walls breached, but its spirit enduring. The seas murmur a faint promise of renewal. The war's shadow fades, leading us to a final reflection, where Greece's past meets our present in quiet harmony. From the war's ruin, let your mind drift across centuries, from ancient Greece to the world you know, where the echoes of that distant land still resonate. Imagine yourself standing on a modern Athenian street, the Acropolis looming above, its marble softened by time. The air is warm, scented with coffee and jasmine, a blend of past and present. This is a moment to reflect on how Greece's ideas, struggles, and arts shape our lives, a gentle thread tying then to now. Let this final tale unfold, a soothing close to your journey through history. The Greece we've explored, its olive pressers, warriors, poets, and healers, was a crucible of ideas. Picture the Agora, where Socrates once questioned truth, his words a spark that lit philosophy. The air then was alive with debate, the clink of coins, the hum of democracy's birth. That democracy, flawed yet bold, lives in our parliaments and ballots, its rhythm a distant echo of Athens' assembly. You vote today, your choice a nod to those who gathered on the Pnyx, their voices shaping a city's fate. The Parthenon, though scarred, stands as a symbol of arts and its columns, copied in courthouses and museums, carry the Greek love of balanced proportion in stone, harmony in thought. Picture a modern architect, her blueprints inspired by Actinus, the air cool in her office as she sketches a building that owes its lines to Athens. The Iliad, too, lives on, its tales of honor and loss retold in novels, films, and classrooms. The air in a library, where a student reads Homer, smells of paper and ink, but its spirit is the same as that ancient hearth where bards sang. Science, born in Hippocrates' observations, thrives in our hospitals, where doctors swear a modern oath, its words rooted in Kos. The Antikythera mechanism, a whisper of Greek ingenuity, finds kin in our computers, their circuits humming like those ancient gears. Even the Dionysius joy lives in our theaters, where actors, unmasked but inspired, perform under electric lights, the air alive with applause. The struggles of Greece, war, plague, division mirror our own, their lessons a quiet guide. The olive presser's toil, the woman's weave, the hoplites stand remind us of resilience, of lives that built a world. As you rest, picture modern Athens at night, its streets glowing, the Acropolis a sentinel above. The past is not gone, it lingers in our laws, our stories, our dreams, a gentle rhythm that carries you to sleep. And so, our journey through ancient Greece draws to a close, its stories of toil, courage, and wonder settling like dust after a long day. From the olive groves to the Parthenon's marble, from the battlefield to the poet's fire, we've walked a world both distant and familiar, its rhythm a quiet lullaby for your mind. The Greeks, with their dreams and struggles, built a legacy that touches us still, a bridge across time that holds fast in the night's embrace. As you lie here, safe in the comfort of now, let the weight of the past slip away. The olive presser's labor, the warrior's stand, the oracle's whisper there but echoes, soft and fading, leaving only peace. The sea still laps at Greece's shores, its waves a constant song, and you can drift with them, carried gently toward sleep. Thank you for joining us at Boring History for Sleep. May your dreams be as calm as the Aegean under a starlit sky, and may you wake refreshed, the past a quiet companion in your heart.